Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to be continuing our series and learning how to draw. And the next exercise is drawing an eye. So I'm going to be drawing from this picture. And you have the option of printing out a picture or drawing from a person in real life, looking across from them. That might be a little awkward, but that's okay. So if you can find a model and draw from them, great. If not, you can grab a picture off the internet or just take a picture with your smartphone. It's up to you. So just for the ease of showing you how this is going to work, I'm just working from this picture. So what I want to do is pay attention to the shapes that I'm seeing in this picture. Okay. Now if you remember before, a few videos back, okay, sometimes people let their images that are in their mind kind of dictate what they draw. They're not really looking at what they see. So when they start to draw this picture, their mind image might override the shape. So instead of drawing these kind of curves that are there, they start to make that football eye, okay, which I mentioned before in a few videos back, that symbolic football eye. Okay? And instead of drawing the iris, which is, if you see here, on the eyelid, it's being covered, a quarter of it's being covered, but some people, again, they want to draw the full iris because that's the image that they have. That's that symbol that they have in their head. Okay, and they'll do this. So this is kind of getting us there, but as you can see, it's really just a symbol. It's not really, we're not really looking at the shapes that are here. So I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to show you how I would start to draw an eye. So a couple things that I like to look for when I draw eyes. I like to look for the lowest point where the two parts of the skin meet here, okay, or the opening I should say, and then this part. And what you can do is just try to pay attention to the height of this in relation to where this is. Okay, so you can see that if we just draw a straight line over, you can see that it's a bit higher. Okay. I'm also going to look at the height of this curve. So I want to see where the curve comes up, and it looks like the apex is somewhere over here. So you can kind of think of this line. If you want to think about it in a different way, you can kind of think about you're kind of like drawing a hill. Okay. So when you draw this line, here's the top of your the hill or the mountain or whatever, okay? And we can do the same thing for down here. So let me just start this. So I'm going to start over here, okay? And I'm going to try to follow this curve. So that's the first thing that I'm going to want to draw, is that curve. And then I'll come up here, remember that apex is somewhere over here. So as I curve up, that's the highest point of the eye, which is right here. And now I'm going to start to come down on this slope. And I want to have that reference point. I want to try to figure out how far down I should come. So if you remember, we don't want to go all the way down so that this and this meet. We want to stay up a little bit. Okay? So right there, that's where you're going to want to stop. Okay. I might need to correct this, so after I draw it, I'll just take a quick look and see how I did. Okay? Then we'll do the same thing down here. I'm going to draw a line straight across. Okay, and you can see that the bottom of this curve is down here. Okay, so that being said, I'll just draw this down a little bit, and this represents the bottom of the curve, okay, or the lowest point, I should say. And I'll just bring this down. It looks like that bottom is almost in the middle. Okay. And I'm just putting in these curves over here. So try to look close. Don't overgeneralize what you see. That's probably that's a mistake that a lot of people make. They'll just simplify what's there instead of really looking at the intricate shapes that are in front of you. Okay, so this looks, it seems to look okay. Okay, then now the next part will be to draw the iris. Okay, so I'll try to figure out where to start the iris. So it looks like, and I'm going to draw just some lines coming down just to kind of help me out. And this is like a good way to help you to draw. Is just sometimes if you draw these lines coming down, that can kind of help you to figure out your spatial relationship. So if I can see that this shape is about this, okay, and same thing with this on this side, okay, that can kind of help me to figure out where to draw my iris. Okay, and the iris is going to come all the way down here, so you can make a little mark. And here's where I'm going to be testing my ability to draw a circle. Okay, now we're going to put this middle part in right here, the pupil, the middle part. Sorry, my brain's not working 100% here. I think if I draw and talk at the same time, something's not going to go right. So put that in. Let me just take a quick look to see if that looks okay. So this probably could use a little bit of correction, but we're pretty close. Okay. And now I'll put in this curve over here. And it looks like there's a little bit of a fold right there that's happening. So I'll just put that in right there. Okay. And now we have this fold that's happening over here. Okay. Let me just erase some of these extra lines here. So I'm just checking everything. Okay. So now I want to add a little bit of depth to the fold of the skin. So I'll come out just a little bit more over here. And you don't have to put a heavy line. I'm just going to kind of keep it a little bit light. This is going to kind of let us know where we should start our the eyelashes. So in this picture, there's the eyelashes are pretty long and pretty dark, so there's a little bit of extra makeup going on here, but it's okay. Okay, so we have that kind of happening. Alright, so now what you can do is start to figure out where you want to put your eyelashes. So eyelashes I think are pretty easy. Just try to pay attention to the curve. So these curves, as they curve up, and what they're doing is as they curve up, they're going to start to get straight. Okay, so this one over here is not going to have much of a curve. So they'll get curvier as they go farther away from the center. So that's how it should work. Now when we're drawing these, you can take a little bit more liberty with doing eyelashes. You don't have to And right now I'm just putting down just some, I would say they're almost like guidelines. Because to make the eyelashes work, you're really going to need to shade them in. And I'm going to make some of them, so to make it look natural, what you want to do is have some of them be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter than the others. You don't want them all to be the same. If they're all exactly the same length, it'll look a little bit more like it just won't look natural. It'll have just look a little funny. So try to have some short, some long. Okay, so again, as we get closer to the middle, there's less of this curve that's happening right here. So the curve I'm talking about is this right here. So as we get further down, this starts to really hook out a little bit more. And I'm not following the picture closely, so if you see some of mine not matching that, that's okay. I'm using the picture as a guideline. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing over here on the bottom. So I'm trying to pay attention to some of these, and some of these are kind of doing a little bit like kind of going in a little bit of some erratic some are going opposite ways, so they look a little unusual, but so I'm just trying to follow some of these curves, okay? Okay, so now I have that. If you want, you can go ahead and put in this eyebrow, okay, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a complete look. And I'm just following the direction of the lines that are there. And the picture's cut off, but I could just keep going and try to figure out, and just use my imagination and try to figure out, how far I want the edge of those to go. Okay, so I'm not going overboard right now with the shading. I'm just putting in just my overall outlines. Okay. Okay, so after I have that figured out, so this is my overall line drawing of my eye, and I think it looks pretty accurate. Okay. People out there with their real eagle eye might see some mistakes, and that's okay. But what I want to do is really try to give you a little bit of a formula for trying to help you to draw an eye with accuracy. Okay, and that's really trying to look at some of the shapes that are there. Okay, and as I'm looking, I think I might want to I'm probably going to want to bring this in just a little bit more as I'm just looking at it. I think this comes out a little bit too far. Okay, a trick that you could do to kind of help you to see your mistakes is just to take the picture and then turn it upside down. And if you turn it upside down, what you're doing is you're not allowing your brain to lock in or file it away. You're challenging your brain to see it from a new perspective, and that'll kind of help you to see where your mistakes are. Okay. You could also take your picture and then put it in a mirror, and then take your drawing and put it in a mirror. And I think sometimes a mirror is a great way of really spotting your mistakes. So if I were to keep going with this picture, I would figure out where that highlight is, and I would start to do my shading. So for me, I would just be more comfortable putting in this dark line, or I shouldn't say the dark line, it's just more of that ring that's going around. And I'm making pretend that these all point to, I shouldn't say make pretend, all my lines are really just pointing into the middle here. Okay. And if you look close, here we have, I'm just going to put in a medium value that's all going here in the middle. So I'm just putting in a medium value, so I'm just putting real light pressure with my pencil. And I think it's okay to leave it a little streaky because if you look at an iris, there's a lot of really interesting texture that's happening within the iris. And if I look close here, there's almost like these bulges that are kind of happening in the iris. It's almost like they're, if you can't see it, another little trick that you could do is just take your eyes and just squint them a little bit. Let everything kind of go a little blurry. And you can start to see other shapes that are there if you just blur your eyes. So just as you're looking at your picture, just blur your eyes a little bit, or squint your eyes, or I don't know how you want to do it, but if it helps, you can kind of think of, I almost see like the inside of a citrus fruit. Like you can kind of think about almost like looking at it and it looks like an orange or a lemon or something. Now don't get discouraged if it doesn't come together just yet. Sometimes you have to add the dark values, and that really helps. So right now I'm going to go ahead and put in my dark value here. Now I'm going to be doing everything with just a number 2 pencil today. I'll talk more about how to make your pictures look even more realistic if you use all the different kinds of drawing pencils, such as the 2B, the 4B, the 6B, or the 2H, and etc. But for now, I just want to show you what you can do with just a regular pencil. Now, if you did the line drawing, that's great. That's pretty much the exercise. I'm doing a little bit more than I expected, just because I just wanted to keep going just to see how this is going to turn out. I'm going to now go ahead and put in some of the shadows that are in here. And as I draw this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be turning my pencil in a circular way, because to me, I see this, when I look at the picture, I like to think of the eye as It's a floating sphere, okay? And we want to try to show that form by having our pencil curve in the form of a rounded edge. Some artists don't do that. That's okay. I like to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put in putting in my value here. I probably went a little dark, but that's okay. I'll put in my value over here. So pay attention to how far down this value of these darks come. So pay attention to that shape that's there. Okay. Now if you're not comfortable shading just yet, that's okay. As long as you guys did the outside of the eye, that was a good enough exercise for you. But if you want to push yourself, or if you're a little bit of an advanced drawer, okay, you can kind of follow what I'm doing and see if that helps you out. And I'm going to make sure that I leave those white spots over here, because that's where the highlights are. So if I don't leave them, it's not going to look like highlights. So some of the trickier challenges when making things look realistic is trying to figure out how dark to make things or how light to make your grays. Okay, so again, that's where you're going to just you're going to need to just squint your eyes a little bit every once in a while and just get an overall understanding of your value. And now I'm just going to darken this up a little bit more. And I'll start to darken under here a bit more. And we can see under here that some of that eye got a little, or the iris got some shadow there. So I'm putting that in. And now I'm going to save the eyelashes for the end, but I'm going to go ahead and put some of the value over here. So So the value over here is shifting and getting a little bit darker as it goes above that fold. You're probably seeing that as I'm doing this, I'm taking my finger and it's probably smudging the eye a little bit if I look at my hand. This is okay because my number 2 pencil isn't too soft. If you use a softer pencil like a 4B or a 6B, you'll see that the graphite is going to start to really smear. So what you can do, if you needed to, a little trick for you is to just take another piece of paper and then put your hand down on that piece of paper, and that can help you to avoid streaking. Okay, but I'm not too worried right now, again, because this is just a regular old number 2 pencil and it's not smearing too much for me. Okay, over here I'll just continue over. And I don't have to go crazy here because don't forget I have to put those eyelashes in, and they're gonna cover quite a bit. But I want to get those grays. I want to get that gray value in there. Okay. I'll now go on the bottom. Well, actually, let me just wrap up over here. If you're really aiming for just really terrific realism, my drawing teachers used to tell me that if you don't see white, then don't leave white. If you see white, then leave it white. And 9 times out of 10, when you look at something, it's not pure white. So that poses a real challenge. So what that means is that you really need to push your value. You need to probably have a lot more gray in the picture than what you're used to, and that means having a lot more gray just overall in your picture. So do I see pure white in this picture? I mean, I see pure white there. It starts to get white up here, down there, but everywhere else it's gray, and this is where you have to kind of push yourself, just to have a lot of patience and discipline. This can also be pretty relaxing too, so not to make it sound like this is all work. But if you just take your time and relax and just enjoy the process, this can be kind of fun and rewarding to see the image just kind of pop out when you're all done. Okay, so that's okay so far. All right, I might want to just check this and do a little correction. This probably came over. This fold is probably a little too high, so maybe I'll just drop that down just a little bit. And I'm just going to check to see. If I look here, I think I want to bring that iris down just a little bit more. And you can do that in your drawing as you're as you're drawing, just every once in a while, if you see some things that need to be nudged over or moved, you can do that. And I wouldn't beat yourself up if you're just not getting this right the first time. That's okay. I mean, it really takes a lot of time and practice to become good at this. And I could always use more practice myself. So we're kind of all on a journey together to keep improving our craft. And I could do some more work. If we look here in the iris, it's actually still darker. And if you look here, you can kind of see this shape that's kind of there, and I'm trying to match that. It doesn't have to be too accurate. Just the overall, looking for just that overall part of how far this is going out. And I would say that I'm actually not going to bring this drawing to, I'm not going to try to bring this all the way to pure ultra realism. Okay, I think that would probably take a lot longer for a video. Okay, but I do want to show you the process of just building it up. So right now I'm building up my drawing, and perhaps another artist would maybe just keep working until they get the iris just perfect, and then they'll move on to somewhere else. I mean, that's okay. I like to just keep building my values everywhere because that kind of helps me to see my picture. Okay, now what I'll do is I want to get these eyelashes done, but before I do that, I think I just want to get a little bit more, I just want to get some value underneath the eye. So this might not matter after I put in the eyelashes. And now what I'll do is I'm just going to look at I'll look at the picture. Again, I'm not going for dead-on accuracy for each single one. I mean, you could just kind of drive yourself nuts if you wanted to. I'm just looking for the general distance and length of most of the eyelashes. And you'll see that, eyelashes, they really help when drawing in eyes. I mean, they once you get everything, you may not think it looks accurate, but once you get those eyelashes in, something happens where it starts to just look a lot better immediately. So I don't know if you're using this video if you just want to copy along. I mean, that's okay. The eye that you're going to draw is going to look different from mine, depending on the person that you're drawing from. And I'm making a little bit of a mistake in that I made too many of my eyelashes kind of go all in the same direction, and that's okay. I think it's important for you to kind of see what happens. If you make them all, if you had no variety, sometimes it just doesn't look natural. So keep looking at your picture to see, to look for the clues. And I tell my students as well, when you're drawing, try to keep looking at your picture. Sometimes what happens is, instead of looking here, you just start looking here, and you just focus here, and that's all you do. You just keep focusing on this, and you don't look here, and then it's kind of like you're missing the answers. All right, so the answers of the test are right here, so just feel free to cheat and just keep looking at that picture as much as you can and grab all the information from it. So you can see that the picture is really starting to come together now, because these eyelashes are really helping to solidify the look of it. And I'm getting a little, I'm actually getting a little impatient myself right now. This video is, I wasn't intending actually to go into this much detail, but I kind of can't help it. So I'll just try to wrap this up. And if any of you out there are watching this, hey, I know that this could probably be better, and that's okay. I'm purposely not going to be taking this to the utmost extreme realism that you could go with it. But my overall goal for this video was really to kind of help you to see all the different shapes that you see in an eye. And to give you some pointers and tips that kind of helped me in drawing eyes. And these tips and tricks you can take with you into drawing anything, really. So So this eye is, I'm adding a lot of my own different parts of the eyelashes that aren't in the picture, and you can kind of do you. You can kind of figure out what you want to do with it. But the more you can look and really pay attention and see, so if we look here, I can kind of try to really figure out how thick some of these are, and all those different parts really help convey a lot more realism when you're doing this. Okay. All right, so I've drawn this over here. You can probably see that underneath the eye, I have left mine pretty white, and that's I'm going to fix that, but I just want to point out that this is a little bit darker there. So I'm going to go in, and I did know that these eyelashes are not going all the way down. There's actually a little bit of, they're leaving a little bit of gray there, and I'm going to put that in right now. So I had my first curves were going this way. Now these curves, if you want to draw a little bit more, I'm going to have some of my curves go out, straight across, and then this way. And I'm just doing, really light pressure here. I actually like showing marks with my drawing. I like the texture that it gives. Some people don't want to show any marks at all, and they'll smudge. And just so you know, for me personally, I don't like smudging. I try to avoid it. Sometimes it's necessary, like if you're trying to make something just look almost like marble. But I like a little bit of texture. I like showing some marks. I think it just makes the picture have like this nice rich look. Okay, so we're looking at that. Okay, and so here I'm gonna grab that other piece of paper because I don't want to smudge this, because I think I'm really gonna, now that I have those darker lines there, it'll probably smudge a little easier. And I'm gonna go ahead and just darken this up, especially in the middle. So as I've been drawing, my pencil point is not as sharp, okay? And if you wanted to make your picture look really, have a lot of realism, you're going to want that pencil point to be pretty sharp. So as I've been drawing, a good idea is just to kind of keep turning your pencil. So I'm turning it. And that's going to help it to get sharper. Or you could just stop and sharpen your pencil, and that's fine. But I know a way of continuing to work while you draw is just to keep turning your pencil, so that way it just kind of self-sharpens. Okay, so let me just look at that really quick. I probably want to brighten this in just a little bit more. And you can see here, there's a couple eyebrow hairs that are just a little bit lower. And I think that just makes it look more natural when you do that. So, okay, I think I'll just stop there for now, just so you can kind of see. So I'm going to take one final look at this to see if it needs any kind of simple correction. As I'm looking here, you can see my rule. What did I say? Don't leave white unless you see it. So I don't see white there, so I'm just going to put in, just going to gray this up a little bit, put in some gray value. Okay. My iris definitely needs a lot more work. I can kind of look at it, and I think I made my iris a little too much like an orange or something, so it might look a little funny, so I might need to soften up the edge, but I'm actually going to stop. Okay, I could probably keep going and really tighten this up, but I'm okay with leaving it where it's at right now. Maybe in the future I might do another video on how to make an eye look hyper realistic, but that's just not what I want to cover today. My main goals for you guys was for you to pay attention to how to get this shape, okay, with accuracy, okay, and just the mental, just kind of the mental things that I was thinking about as I went to draw the eye. So that way you can kind of just follow along and maybe have the same pattern of thought as you're working, and hopefully that can help you out. So I'm hoping that this brought some value to you guys today as you're continuing to learn how to draw, and I'm looking forward to getting the next lesson ready for you guys. So I hope you guys are enjoying your day and that you're enjoying the process of learning to draw. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.